What's happening, everybody? I hope you're doing good. Beautiful night. Feels really fresh tonight. It's great. It's been very hot lately, but it's good. You know, we need hot sometimes. We need fresh sometimes. We need rain sometimes. I just hate the cold. I don't like winter. Thank you very much for stopping by. You are very much appreciated. You know that. Today we're going to talk about Zimbabwe. The chairperson of the African Union, Musa Faki Mahatma, once again renewed the long-standing African Union demand for the immediate and unconditional lifting of sanctions imposed against institutions, individuals of the Republic of Zimbabwe. So Musa Faki Mahatma, for once, for me, I see he's doing something positive. Yeah, he's the chairperson of the African Union, comes forward and say, you know what, you've punished Zimbabwe way too long. You need to stop. Okay. So I don't know if you know this guy. He is the guy that's like a while back, he called upon the Israelis to come and become observers in the African Union. Yeah, this guy said Israelis, so people from Israel, must come and become observers in the African Union. And some people did not like that at all. You know, especially Naledi Pandor, she wasn't up for that. Like, why would you get somebody from another continent to come and become an observer in your internal affairs of Africa? Like, are you okay? But at least for once, you can see now he's pushing for the lifting of sanctions against Zimbabwe. So, in the same time, Southern African countries have come together. They've rallied behind Zimbabwe, push for the lifting of what they term is illegal economic embargo imposed by Western countries on Harare, arguing that the impact of the sanction is being felt across the region. So the people are tired of Western nations sanctioning Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has been under sanction from the US, European Union, the United Kingdom, and their allies for the past 2 decades, fellas. 20 years of sanctioning. No pity. They don't feel sorry for you. They don't give a continental about you. They say it's over alleged human right violation. Alleged human right violation. It's not even confirmed human right violation. Alleged human right violation. Other countries still maintain the sanctions regime against Zimbabwe, including Australia, okay, they're problematic anyway, Canada, New Zealand. They still maintain sanctions against Zimbabwe. Okay, so let's just get back to perspective. Zimbabwean people have done absolutely nothing to these people, Australians, Canadian, New Zealanders. But because America has sanctioned Zimbabwe, they also sanction. They don't ask questions. They don't do a private investigation to find out, do they really deserve to be sanctioned? No, they don't do that. If America sanctioned, everybody sanctioned. You see how these people work together. Why can't Africans work that way together? Harare contend that the sanctions were imposed as a punishment for its land reform program under the late Robert Mugabe that displaced nearly 4,000 white Zimbabwean commercial farmers from the year 2000 onward. Zimbabwe, like most African countries, was colonized by Europeans. Okay, Zimbabwe was colonized by the British, and that's the reason why they speak English. Okay, in Africa generally, you speak the language of your colonizer. Okay, like the French people colonized many French-speaking African countries. That's why they speak French as a national language, and Zimbabwe speak English because of the British. So for many years they took land. Okay, they took land. They owned the lands. They were the farmers. The land is the power. The land is everything. You can't say you own a country if you don't have the land. And for many years, they were the farmers. Zimbabwe were reduced to consumers. They just bought the food produced by the farmers. The farmers reaped the benefits of the land. So few farmers had the most lands in Zimbabwe. The issue was Robert Mugabe wanted them to invest into the country. Okay, and they said, are you Zimbabwean? Yes, I'm Zimbabwean. I'm a white Zimbabwean. If you are a white Zimbabwean, then put the money into the Zimbabwean banks. You know, inject the money to the economy so the money can circulate within Zimbabwe. That's what you gotta do. Now, the British farmers or British descendants living in Zimbabwe were not doing that. They will produce things, they'll make money, then they send money to Britain. They'll work the market, they get the money, then they send to Britain. They work the markets, they send the money to Britain. So they say, are you really Zimbabweans or are you British? You're clearly not Zimbabweans. Okay. This is exactly what's happened in Uganda as well. With Idi Amin. People tell you Idi Amin is such an evil person and he did this, he did that. Yeah, well, he wasn't perfect, true. But his initial idea was good because The Indians in Uganda created a community of their own. They were not mingling with black people in Uganda. They were not playing with them. They were not marrying them. They were not doing anything with them. They were not they were not doing anything together. They had private parties where no black Uganda was involved. They had their own business, their own parallel economy. They made money, and every time they made money, they sent money to India, not in Uganda. That's why Idi Amin said to them to leave the country. It wasn't because he was just evil. Now, for now, I'm taking your businesses, get out. No. He said, you're going to invest in Uganda if you are truly Ugandans. They refused to do so. And that was the reason why I said, for now, pack your stuff, go. And most of them, a lot of them went to Britain. Some of them went back to India. Same for Zimbabwe. Let's get back to Zimbabwe. That was the reason why America, Britain, European Union sanctioned Zimbabwe, because they took the land from the European descent people. That's the reason. They came with funny reasons saying we're doing this to protect Zimbabwe's democracy. We're feeling bad for Zimbabwean people. They deserve better. Yeah. Now, the truth is, it's because Robert Mugabe took the land and gave the land back to Zimbabweans. Now, let's not be very quickly too happy. The issue is many Zimbabweans, local Zimbabweans, mismanaged the land that was given to them. Many of them, not all, many of them, they did not bother to learn how to process the things. They did not learn how to work the land appropriately. Some of them did not learn how to do it. Some of them spent way too much money instead of reinvesting the money. When you do business, it doesn't mean you're rich. It means you got the money, you must reinvest the money in the business so the business can grow. Then you can start eating off the revenue, the extras, not the actual money. And with the lack of experience, unfortunately, combined with sanctions, the country went south. In Zimbabwe, there was no bread, there was no oil, there was no salt. None of the basic things was available. The sanction, they say, was against Mugabe and his, dictator group of people, not against the people of Zimbabwe. But the reality is, Mugabe was rich. He was a rich man. Okay? He's the president of an African country anyway. What do you expect? He's got money. He's not going to suffer from you blocking bread or, wheat or anything or sugar. How is he going to suffer? He won't suffer. He's going to import from Russia or from China or from North Korea. They were actually punishing Zimbabwean people, normal people. So most of the country did not want to deal with Zimbabwe. When you know that America doesn't like somebody, you're trying to avoid them. That's how it goes. Very easy. Same for Nicaragua, same for North Korea. You know how it goes. If you don't do things the way we want, we're going to sanction you. Same for Eritrea. Yeah. They call Eritrea the North Korea of Africa. But the truth is, Eritrea are not really suffering, not at all. Okay? Eritrea is an advanced country. They have the better water system in some of the best water system in Africa. They have some of the best schools in Africa. They have a lot of things that are going for them. Eritrea, in fact, is the only true free country in Africa. Yeah. So African presidents say the international community must be made aware that the sanction against Zimbabwe has severely hindered its economic growth through limited access to international financing trade, negatively affecting the lives of ordinary Zimbabweans. Sadly, fellas, most Zimbabweans today are obliged to go to foreign countries, neighboring countries, Botswana, Namibia, South Africa, trying to get a better life. Okay. Zimbabweans go to school. They get degrees, but they have to go to foreign countries trying to get a better life. You find a lot of them in South Africa. In 2022, a census report released early showed that there was 1.1 million Zimbabweans living in South Africa. Yeah, that's 45% of migrants in South Africa are Zimbabweans. And South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has previously pleaded with the Western country to lift the sanction against Zimbabwe to stem the flow of illegal immigrants into his country, which has been experiencing bouts of xenophobic attacks against foreign nationals.
The sanctions that are also being applied against South Africa's neighbor, Zimbabwe, should also be lifted as they are imposing untold suffering on ordinary Zimbabweans, but also have a collateral negative impact on neighboring countries as well, such as my own country, South Africa.
Obviously, when you come to somebody else's country and 1 million, it's a lot of people. Okay, then you have to fight for resources. Okay, so Zimbabweans who are not necessarily skilled have to fight for resources with local South Africans who are not necessarily skilled, like small jobs, small shops. In Africa, you get some small stores. It's not a big store. It's just like a personal little shop. A family can have a little shop in a corner selling stuff, or two people can come together, put money together, have a little shop. So where you can sell pens, you can sell pencils, you can sell tomatoes, you can sell 2 or 3 loaves of bread, you can sell a couple of, trying to make money. But then it becomes competition to the local people. Also jobs as security guards, jobs that many South Africans who have not necessarily gone to high schools can attend to. And then they have to struggle with Zimbabwe. It creates tension. Lack of money, lack of resources create tensions among people. Some people who are not necessarily very intelligent are going to be frustrated according to that. Not realizing that not every foreigner is necessarily taking your job, because some are just expert in, he's a doctor, he's a gynecologist, you don't get many of them though. So unfortunately, many Zimbabweans have gone to South Africa and many other places, and you see flows of not liking each other that have happened. And also because some Zimbabweans unfortunately have done many crimes. Yeah, some Zimbabweans have done not nice things in South Africa, like car attack, hijacking, some of the violent side. Not to say that South Africans don't do violent crime. They do. Yes, they do. Zimbabweans do too. But I find it a little bit more acceptable in someone's country that their own people do crime than to find somebody from another place come do crime in the country. It's like your child stealing money from you is still okay. Then the neighbor's child coming to your house to steal your stuff. That's not okay. So that's exacerbated the feeling of xenophobia and all that stuff that you heard. So now I think the Africans are coming together, asking the Europeans, enough is enough. You need to stop sanctioning this country. Zimbabweans need freedom. Okay, you can't press them forever. Mugabe, who came up with the law of reform, taking land from the white people, he's gone. He's not no more. He's gone. The guy is not anymore. Stop punishing the people of Zimbabwe for just because you can, because you're powerful. This is the same thing they've done to Nicaragua, the same thing to Cuba, the same thing to North Korea, the same thing. If they do things your way, what did they say? This is what they say. In its last year review of its embargo, because they review your embargo every year, December 2022, they removed 17 individuals from the sanction list and added 4 more. You remove 17 and added 4 more, as well as entity. The US says Zimbabwe's sanction program targets human rights abusers. So it's only in Zimbabwe you find human rights abusers, those who undermine democratic processes and facilitate corruption. Is it your country? They undermine democratic processes. Zimbabweans are suffering. The people are suffering. And you pretending to help them by sanctioning some dudes up there. It makes no sense to me. America says the sanctions are not intended to be permanent, but incentivize change in behavior. It's like a father. Your behavior, change your behavior. My man. Africans need to come together. Man. Western nations expressed their frustration over the slow pace of reform under the 81-year-old ruler. So this is Mnangagwa, the new president. They expected to stop the sanction when he took power. But the Western nation, they say they expressed their frustration over the slow pace of reform. They want you to go fast, change fast. You're not moving fast enough for our liking. That's why we're sanctioning you. I wish Africans can come together like this, fellas, and stop fighting who came into what land first, who was here before who, and whose land this is. The bottom line is nobody owns anything. Our ancestors did. They moved the way they please. There's nobody that's 100% anything. You know that? Yeah, you're going to be shocked. Nobody's 100% anything. Everybody came from somewhere. If you go up and up and up and up, everybody moved from somewhere to somewhere. That's the reality of it. Let's deal with the issues of today. Let's find, no two criminals. We don't want no criminal from nowhere. Let's deal with the issues of today. How can we not support how about we support each other like they do? Britain doesn't think. When America says yes, it goes yes. Australia goes yes. Canada goes yes. France goes yes. They all go yes. Doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong. Why isn't the people in Middle East being sanctioned? They're not being sanctioned. You are going to be sanctioned because they're part of the group. How about we create our own clan, our own Africa, standing strong with one another? being together, respecting each other, growing, going forward. I don't get it. Thank you very much, fellas. It's always a great pleasure. Zimbabwe has been sanctioned for 2 decades, a long time ago. Great people. Some of the Zimbabweans I've met, good people. Africans are coming together now, putting pressure, asking the sanction to be lifted. And I hope this is going to be the goal. Your comment is very necessary. And the more you comment, the more I'm encouraged, okay? I don't want to be here doing some sort of a speech by myself. It doesn't move me at all. I could be doing something. I like food. I could be eating or, planning a trip somewhere. I want to read from you. Let me know how you feel. God bless.